What's up, guys? Welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars Summer 2021 review. Thanks to Dave, I'm actually borrowing his copy for today's video, sent to him free from LEGO. This is the Imperial Light Cruiser, or what was commonly known as Moff Gideon's Light Cruiser. This is set number 75315, recommended for ages 10 and up. We got 6 minifigures in this set. The piece count is 1,336. Now, this will be retailing on August 1st. For $159.99. Now, a huge disclaimer before we get into this video that I actually am not traditionally a fan of these builds when it comes to the Star Destroyer from both maybe like the sequels or the original trilogy or even the Republic Venator. I'm just typically not a fan of the play-scale cruisers like this. So that, of course, might hinder my review a little bit for today, but I have been able to get hands-on, take a look at all the cool features and all that kind of stuff, and especially the minifigures, which I'm most excited for. So if you guys are excited, make sure you drop a like down below, make sure you subscribe. But first, let's go ahead and get on into the minifigures. So like I said, there are 6 of them in this set here, some of which we have already seen, and 3 of which are actually going to be brand new and exclusive to this set. So first off, let's start with the ones that we already know. Of course, we have the child. It's the same exact child minifigure that we've seen forever up until now, so nothing really crazy there. We do have another Mandalorian. It is the same exact one, I believe, as the one that comes in the Trouble on Tatooine. So if you're looking for another way to get the arm-printed Mando, it's going to be another option for you, certainly if you're looking into buying this set. However, obviously there are cheaper alternatives. Nothing really crazy to say. I do really love the Mandalorian armor that they have on this minifigure. Again, the same one as in the Trouble on Tatooine, but a good minifigure nonetheless. And of course, there is no head, which should be pretty obvious up until now. He does come with a spear though, so I guess that's also kind of new. And then the other minifigure that we all know too well here, we have Cara Dune. Of course, there was a lot of speculation that she was going to be pulled from the set, canceled, and whatnot from any LEGO sets coming in the future, but of course that was not true, so rest in peace to everyone who invested in the AT-ST Raider. I just wanted to make sure, but it was the same minifigure that came in the AT-ST Raider. So again, 3 minifigures that we've all seen well before, nothing crazy. However, now we have 3 minifigures that are brand new and exclusive to the set, and the first one I want to start off with is my favorite looking. We have Fennec. Fennec Shand. She is very popular in the Bad Batch TV show right now, of course, if you guys are keeping up to date, but I just absolutely love the way this character came out. First of all, the helmet is, I believe, brand new as far as I know. It is a one piece. It kind of looks like it's one separate visor and then like the top, but it is just one solid piece for the helmet. Now, I absolutely love her printing, and I think the colors look amazing between the black and the orange. You guys can see here, she does have like the orange sort of waist cape that is printed on the lower parts of the legs. As far as the top torso here goes, we do have some beautiful printing that does match up with the robes and her outfit that she does wear in the Bad Batch show and in the Mandalorian TV show. Here's also a better look at the head printing that we have for Fennec Shand. You do have 2 expressions. One's a little more neutral and one's a little bit more smirky than the other one as well. So overall, this Fennec minifigure really did a phenomenal job for me, and I do love having this finally. So I think after seeing the Fennec character in the Bad Batch and just seeing how much she's doing and just how involved she is with the series, I think it's really cool to finally get one of these. And I especially am a fan of the helmet, like I said, and the arm printing, which is also fantastic. So overall, 10 out of 10 for the Fennec. Next up here, we have an exclusive Moff Gideon. This is the first time we're getting a Moff Gideon minifigure, and I gotta say, it is a little disappointing that LEGO's still using the classic saber hilt and all that kind of stuff that they've been using pretty much for years now. I would have loved to see maybe a little bit of a newer mold or a new piece for the Darksaber, but that's besides the point. I am a little bit disappointed that there is no leg printing for Moff Gideon. I feel like he's definitely a worthy character to get the same sort of detail and love and work into the just like the other ones. So that is a little bit disappointing, but otherwise the cape is cool. It is a 2-colored cape, so you have red and dark red, like a maroon red on the inside of the cape, and then black for the outside. You get the Moff Gideon head, and he does come with very Imperial-esque printing, which of course is going to be pretty accurate. He has a very sort of like TIE pilot looking attire with this like sort of red and black sort of belt going across, which does look nice. Again, the only thing I would have loved from this is going to be leg printing, and I think that could have definitely been, but maybe that's just not what LEGO had envisioned for Moff Gideon. And then the last one here is one of the most anticipated for me. This is the Dark Trooper. Now, of course, spoiler warning if you guys haven't seen Season 2 of Mandalorian. The Dark Troopers were in the very last episode when they were aboard the Imperial Light Cruiser, and these are also the guys that got cut down by Luke Skywalker, which is a really cool scene. Going into the minifigure itself, you guys can see here that actually the shoulder pads is the same exact piece that Wrecker uses from the Bad Batch. So you have those 2 studs behind it and just like that. Now, I had also previously thought that the helmet was going to be having red behind the eye sockets, but it actually is the head print itself that has the red, which is pretty cool. So here's a little bit of a better look at the face printing, and then of course you have the helmet, which just sort of slides right on top. It does have holes where the eyes would be, so of course that red can sort of illuminate like the robot does in the actual TV show. Here's a better look at the printing. Overall, it looks very mechanical, looks very like a robot, which is of course to be expected for something like the Dark Troopers. I do have a little bit of a feeling that we're going to be seeing these Dark Troopers in some sort of a smaller price set next year, whether it be a battle pack or a regular play set, but nonetheless, the Dark Troopers are a pretty cool addition to this guy as well. So with the minifigures out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the actual cruiser itself. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not really a big fan of these light cruiser ships that sort of are downscale, play scale. That's just not the type of LEGO collector that I like to be. However, I gotta say, in terms of an aesthetic and a shape, I think it definitely lives up to what it actually looks like in the show. So how you pick it up is basically by the bridge. There's some stickers along the bridge to represent the sort of different details and stuff like that that you would find on a Star Destroyer or any other Imperial version style, but traditionally you will hold up the entire thing by the top. It is connected by Technic, so you're gonna be pretty safe whenever you're holding it. Now, as far as weight distribution, it is definitely a little more front heavy than you might expect, but it also is not too heavy to the point of where you can't actively carry and swoosh it around and everything like that. The bottom of it is completely flat, which is honestly a good thing. That way you can actually display it on a floor or hold it steadily with both of your arms. I think it's gonna actually be a pretty easy thing. So I know a lot of people might be disappointed about the lack of detail on the bottom, but for me, I really don't care. Starting with the engines, they've used these big sort of quarter circle and half circle plates and tiles and bricks to sort of recreate the engines on the back of the light cruiser. Definitely looks pretty good. Of course, you have the transparent pieces on the back to represent the engine lights and everything like that. Now, around the ship, you'll notice a technique called greebling. This is something known in the LEGO community where you add details to the side of something to make it look super intricate or super detailed, and all along the entirety of 360 of the light cruise there is pretty much greebling detail going on, ranging from wedges to plates to grill stuff and everything like that. You also have some mini turrets on either side, which give it some really cool aesthetic. A little bit more of a smaller interior than I would have hoped for. However, I do recognize that there has to be obviously a lot of room for different Technic and stuff like that. I would have loved to see a smaller room maybe below the bridge. I feel like there would have been a little bit of opportunity for there, but this is the only part of the inside that we get. So it obviously is that sort of main server room that they are in that I would probably even call the bridge itself in the show. In the center, you have this long sort of Imperial black table that we've seen on things like the Death Star and the Imperial Star Destroyers. Again, very Empire-esque. And pretty much other than that, not too much crazy detail. You do have some of the black grills around the location. You have some control panels and slopes with stickers and stuff like that. But overall, the interior details definitely lacking. Now, I think the idea is here you recreate the scene at the end of Season 2, obviously, when Luke Skywalker chops down the last Dark Trooper and sort of gets to Baby Yoda, although that is not obviously going to happen in this one because we don't get a Luke Skywalker minifigure, which was a little bit disappointing. Now, as far as place features goes, there's actually a pretty cool one here up front that I thought was pretty unique. So if you look inside, you'll see this sort of red and black circle. Now, if you push that forward, you recognize there's a pin that moves forward. And the idea is you actually get a TIE fighter right up here and you sort of plant it and he gets launched into space, which is kind of cool. Now, so the idea is that you push the pin and you launch the TIE fighter out, which is kind of cool. There was a really cool scene in Season 2 where the TIE fighters launched out of the front of the light cruiser, so that is the idea behind it. You just pretty much put the TIE fighter right on either sides of the tile, you push forward the little pin, and the TIE fighter shoots out. Now, this is kind of a cool thing, although I don't really see the feasibility when it comes to it, because it's just going to fall immediately, especially if you're playing it with it in the air. But nonetheless, I thought that was kind of cool of something for them to include. The only other thing that I feel like is worth mentioning about the light cruiser is the turrets on the top, which I actually am a big fan of. They're basically on these giant rotatable bricks. There's basically a plate. You put the brick on the plate, and you can turn it 360, which is a very common technique and piece that we've seen in LEGO Star Wars before. This, of course, is where the missile launchers and the shooters are for the play value of the set itself, but they do turn 360. You can move the turrets up and down, so I think that definitely looks pretty good. And as far as a general aesthetic and a scale to it, I actually think it did a pretty good job with it. And then also right below the bridge, there is a little area to hold your TIE fighters as well. So of course, if you're not shooting them out actively, you can store them in this back little section right here. You just use a stud and connect it to the side of the ship, and it's not going to go anywhere, which is actually good that there's a place to put the TIE fighters if you're not utilizing that front shooter section. So overall, for $160, again, taking into account that I traditionally don't like sets like this, I gotta say this is probably a pass for me. I really am interested in getting the Fennec minifigure mostly out of all. I think there's a lot of room for improvement with the Moff Gideon, and the Dark Trooper does do a pretty good job at achieving what we're looking for. I just don't think it's enough to warrant the $160 price point for the set. But I think if you are an avid fan of Mandalorian Season 2, you do love Moff Gideon, you love the entirety of the end sequence with the Dark Troopers and Luke Skywalker and the duel between the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon for the Darksaber, I think there still is a lot of value for you in the set, but for me personally, it's just not something I'm eagerly looking forward to. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed my review of the Imperial Light Cruiser releasing this August for $160. Again, huge thanks to David for lending me his copy, and this was a free review copy from LEGO as well. So of course, all the opinions you guys heard in today's video was my own. I think the 3 exclusive minifigures are pretty cool to be finally getting, but I don't think it warrants enough for what is a little bit of a lacking Imperial Light Cruiser here with very minimal functions, and I think there could have been a lot of room for more interior if they had looked a little bit. But that's all we got for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Drop a like down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff coming through the month of July. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss, so make sure you guys stay tuned for those. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Take it easy. Peace.